The Film Crickets are intended for mature audiences. Any guests on the Film Crickets do not necessarily share the same opinions as the Film Crickets.
Film Crickets, chirping about movies.
It's time for the Film Crickets with Jay Fortier, Chris Martineau, and Melanie Howerton. On this week's episode, our good friend Jordan from the YouTube channel Can't Buy Me 80s rejoins the Crickets, and Jay, Chris, Melanie, and Jordan review the 1986 American horror thriller film, The Hitcher.
I asked you a question, Superior. I'm going to sit here. You're going to drive.
You stay seated right where you are, or I'll blow your brains through your ass.
Does it stand the test of time? Let's find out. Your Film Crickets are on now.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Film Crickets. My name is Jay Fortier, along with my good friends and co-hosts, Melanie Howerton and Chris Martineau.
Hey.
Howdy.
Hey.
Hey.
And welcoming once again, not too long ago, we had her on for Just One of the Guys, and we have her back because we discussed this movie in that movie. I don't know if I kept it in the episode. I think we did. Welcome, Jordan.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me. This is always a blast to look forward to. I love it.
Thank you so much.
Jordan.
But yeah, Melanie and Jordan were discussing this movie while we were doing the last episode. And we realized that Chris had never seen it, so we were excited to show him because it's one of those movies. I said, I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say Chris will absolutely like this movie.
Oh, I dug it. Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm going to tip my hand and say it absolutely holds up for 1,000 reasons.
Awesome.
Sorry,
for 1,000 reasons. No, I really dug it. I want to thank you. Hey guys, like this is one of those movies. Like the poster is blazed into my brain from just like scouring the video rental shelves. Like I've always seen the poster for The Hitcher, and or the video box again back in the day with video box. And I worked at Blockbuster, so I would see The Hitcher, and it just was always out there. And I never watched it, just not because I was avoiding it, but boy, I kind of want to thank you, Jordan. So why? I know obviously your whole deal is the '80s generation, so. The other movies we've watched with you about the 80s have been kind of, more 80s-ish. Very bright. Yes. Mannequin. What were the other ones?
Mannequin, Just One of the Guys. Oh, there
wow.
we go.
There it is. All right. Fantastic.
My mom just bought it Saturday.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So very like the other side of the 80s, right? So like your Def Leppard poster I see and your Motley Crue poster. Obviously, your wardrobe choices, which I fully endorse, but it's this movie is not like that. So, why your affinity to The Hitcher? Is it because it's 80s, or because you like it?
So I'm a big horror, psychological thriller fan. I love really all genres. I'm not too big on romance, though.
Okay.
Probably because I can't relate, but that's another story.
All right, it's not therapy, folks. It's not therapy. We don't need to know. All right, yes.
But I love like thriller movies, and I saw it one day. I think it was on Tubi. And I was like, oh, this looks good. I love C. Thomas Howell. I think I've spoken to him over like Instagram Messenger like once or twice.
Wow.
But he's just, I love him. I think he was really cute in the 80s. So I was like, let's watch this. And so I turn it on and I'm like, this is a really good movie. Mm-hmm. And I don't see it advertised a lot anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I fell in love with it. I think it is the only 80s movie that's really kept me on the edge of my seat because I didn't know what I was getting myself into beforehand.
Okay. Yeah. I agree. I don't, it's psychological. It almost makes you want to think supernatural the way that Rutger Hauer kind of just appears, but it's not. Anyway, so I want to thank you and Melanie for kind of bringing me to the table on The Hitcher. I've already told you where I stand on this. I know it exists. I've seen it in like horror movie anthologies that I watch on occasion, like documentaries about horror movies, and they'll bring up The Hitcher. It's very much more quality than any other 80s horror movie as far as I'm concerned. Melanie, what's your history with The Hitcher? Obviously, we've purchased it.
Well, my mom
physical media
Saturday because we didn't have it.
Okay.
And when I was talking about doing it, me and Jay were talking on the phone, kind of back and forth, trying to figure out where we could watch it from. And I had just watched it not too long ago again. I hadn't seen it in years. But I watched it not too long ago because I was just searching for something to watch on Tubi, and I saw it. I go, I remember liking this. I haven't seen it in so long. It was such a good movie. And so I watched it literally probably last month or the month before that. And so I probably didn't need to see it again, but she was like, I don't have that movie, and she liked it. And she goes, I really want to buy it. So she bought it, and it got here on Saturday.
Wow. All right.
We watched it today, and I took notes while I was, watching it.
Okay. So it's super. So you've watched it before, you haven't seen it in a bit, and you finally have the physical media copy of The Hitcher. Probably not Blu-ray. Probably just
I don't
DVD.
think it is, no.
No, it's just DVD.
No, it's not.
I'd love to hear the commentary on this, but probably not available. Jay, what's your deal with The Hitcher? Tell me about this. It seems as though we would have watched this back in the day, but we did not.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. No, but you and I would.
Right.
Yeah.
Though I think we became friends later
Sure.
in '86. So I'm saying, we probably just weren't thinking of renting it at the time. But before I get to that, I want to say that one movie that Jordan joined us for was Friday the 13th Part 1. So it wasn't all camp.
True.
Camp Crystal Lake, but not
Sure.
campy, boppy, type things. And then we did Mother's Day. Or, no, not Mother's Day. What was the other one?
April Fool's Day.
Sorry.
Mother's Day is rough.
Mother's Day.
Whoa.
That is garbage.
That is
It is a bad movie. Anyways, my friend Jay and I had rented that. He had already seen it, I guess, and then I saw it many times throughout the 80s, so I guess, it's weird that we didn't see it together. But then I think probably early 90s was the last time, early to mid, and that's the last time I saw it. Not that I wouldn't have revisited it, just never did. And I think I did see the second one.
No.
Well, no, it's not. At least it didn't bring Rutger Hauer back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? After he got a hole in the chest.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, everybody.
Yeah.
No, but it was Jake Busey, so that gives you an idea. I had to look it up to see who was in it.
Was it somewhat good? Because I know Thomas Howell
I
is in it.
don't remember.
Oh.
I don't know.
Jordan, I looked it up.
I'm scared to watch the second one.
I wouldn't
because
bother.
I know how many
I don't think I'd
sequels
bother.
suck.
Yeah, it says 2003. I wrote it down. The Hitcher 2.
That's why it's too new.
Look at that.
I've been waiting.
Yeah.
And then also there was a remake in 2007 that actually made a lot more money than this one did, because this one didn't really become popular. And I have the budget here for both, but it didn't really become popular until later, unfortunately. It was such a good movie.
I never saw the reboot.
Yeah,
I don't want to rewatch it.
I didn't know there was one.
2007, yeah.
What's the it's Hitcher 2: I've been waiting, I think.
Something like that.
Well, I've been waiting.
And I started watching, I don't know that I started watching the trailer because I finished it this morning, and I'm like, they must have made a sequel to this somehow. And I looked it up, and they did, and there's a trailer, and I saw Jake Busey, and it says, The Hitcher 2: I've been waiting, and here's C. Thomas Howell, middle-aged, sitting in a car with that same doe-eyed look that he had from the first one, because in the first one he's really young.
Yeah.
And he's got his innocent doe-eyed look, hey man, hey guys, what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't understand what's going on. And he had the same thing, but he's 40. It's I don't know. I'm not sure about this.
But you said he wasn't in it though, right? Or was he just in a minute of it? Or
No, he's in it.
He's in it.
He is in it.
I think he's one of the main people, but I'm talking
Okay,
about
good.
Rutger
I would
Hauer.
only watch it if he's the main character. That's it.
All right, guys. Look, I put on my old man glasses, so I got to read the IMDb breakdown here. So hold on. So The Hitcher came out in 1986, rated R, coming in at an hour and 37 minutes. And the one-sentence breakdown is: a young man who escapes the clutches of a murderous hitchhiker is subsequently stalked by the Hitcher and framed for his crimes. Directed by Robert Harmon, written by Eric Reed, starring Rutger Hauer, C. Thomas Howell, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Jeffrey DeMunn, who I absolutely love. He's been in a bunch of stuff, and a lot of other cops who subsequently get murdered in this movie. And that's the gist of the film.
The last police officer that is riding with C. Thomas Howell is Dale.
Yeah.
From Walking Dead. So like,
Yep.
it doesn't look anything like him, really. I mean, a very young version of him.
He did a lot of
so many things.
He did a lot of Frank Darabont. He was in The Green Mile as one of the security guards.
Okay.
He was in The Mist as one of the old like main townies, and he's in the Storm of the Century, one of the only things that Stephen King wrote for TV. You don't like Storm of the Century?
I know, it's just, you know why?
Oh yeah.
Why?
For the same reason. It's fine up until like the end. And my thing is, I'm not going to give it all away, but I'm going to say all that effort, and then I get nothing on my payout. Like
I
it's
feel
like
the same.
I watched
What did you want?
6 hours.
No.
What did you want?
Okay.
I don't
What
want
did you
to
Can't
want?
go down this
I
road,
like
dude.
it.
It's like we have like 16.
Okay,
we're
fine.
16 minutes in, whatever.
You're right. Okay, fine.
Hitcher.
Fine.
I agree with Jay.
I
Totally.
own Storm of the Century. I love it because it's so
It's
bleak.
just depressing, though.
I know. That's why I like it.
Like the Green Mile, man. At the end of the Green Mile, I'm like,
Yes.
great, thanks. I feel like crap.
Yeah.
No,
that-
you're all wrong. Sorry, your opinions are wrong,
No,
folks.
the Green
No.
Mile I'm in love with. I love the Green
Okay.
Mile. You have to watch it. I freaking own it. I love it. But I cried for an hour and a half after I watched it.
I was angry when it was
couldn't
over.
stop- I
And if
literally
I'm mad when
couldn't
it's
stop
over, I
crying.
don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Look, guys,
I
we're
have seen it
talking.
again. Like my daughter, I kept trying to make her watch it, and she was like, "I'm not watching," because I told her how much I cried, and she was
Mm-hmm.
like, "We don't like to watch things that make us cry. We just don't." And so I was like, "No, you have to watch it. It's just that good." And she's like, "Never." And then so when we had our movie night, it was like me and my 2 daughters and my husband. I just put it in. I didn't tell her what it was, and she was like, "Oh no!" She tried to get up, and I'm like, "I'm telling you, you have to watch it. You just have to watch it." And she cried her eyes out, but she liked it. But she'll never watch it again.
Look, we're not talking Jordan's language here because we're talking post 2000. So this is not her cup of tea. So
You
let's
feel
give.
so young.
Let's bring Jordan back into the conversation. All right, so look, here's the deal. We have this movie, The Hitcher, and in it we have Rutger Hauer. Now, Jordan, did you see Blade Runner?
I have seen Blade Runner.
What do you think about Blade Runner?
I think it's okay.
I think it's boring as fuck.
I'm not too big into like action movies.
It's not action. There's no fucking
more like
action.
It's
so
pretty action to
boring.
me.
All right, all
I
right.
don't even remember it, so I must not have liked it that much.
So Jay and I, we did. Who do we have for Blade Runner?
Bill Keeler.
Bill Keeler, the radio guy, right?
Yeah.
And Blade Runner is a big movie in terms of hard sci-fi. Ridley Scott, post-Alien, dystopian future. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but
Yeah,
Rutger
I
Hauer
put that kind of stuff
Yeah.
into action, like action,
Okay.
dystopian,
Fair enough.
sci-fi. They're in the
Yeah.
same section. They're like what I last choose to watch, except for
Yeah.
romance. That's get pushed off all the way till the end.
Right. The trouble is it's not action because nothing happens really that interesting. In Blade Runner, hot take, I don't like it. Even though I like hard sci-fi and I like fantasy and I'm not into it. But Rutger Hauer's in it and he plays an android who's not sure if he's an android or if he's a human or if he should have emotions and blah, 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 blah. So it's an android with existential dread. So it's an android who is horrifying. He's really scary. But behind his eyes is an infinite amount of sadness, right?
Yeah, like
because he doesn't
Leatherface.
know. Yeah, he doesn't know his place in the world. He's got so much sadness back there. And here comes Rutger Hauer after that in The Hitcher, and they cast this movie perfectly because there is sadness
There is.
behind his eyes that is beyond his obvious psychological problems.
100%.
100%. And this movie does such a good job because it's a road movie. It's just C. Thomas Howell driving. The storytelling is fantastic because they set it up right away. Oh, I'm coming from Chicago. I'm driving a car to San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here in Texas. I'm in the middle of nowhere. And here comes Rutger Hauer. And he picks up a hitchhiker. And he says right out of the gate, what does he say when he picks up Rutger Hauer?
I wrote it down.
Go ahead, Melanie.
My mother told me never to do this.
Right.
And I said to myself, well, you know what?
Listen to her
Mom tell you
to his
these things
mother.
for a freaking reason.
Yeah.
And and then 100%. I have other notes, but that was the very first thing that I wrote because I was like,
In terms of
maybe
storytelling,
it's just a mom.
yeah, in terms of storytelling for an 80s movie, which is usually wrapped with nudity and violence and ridiculous serial killing, We set up, there's so much storytelling Justin C. Thomas Howell. A, I'm in the middle of nowhere. B, I'm too young to be doing this. C, I'm immature. D, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. And he's blissfully ignorant to the world. He's just doing something for a favor, and he's going to do something that he knows isn't the right idea, but he's a nice guy, so he wants to help out Rutger Hauer. And immediately, this movie informs you, shit's going to go off the rails quick, and it does.
It's a wonderful movie, which I love. There's no build-up or anything.
Whoa. Hold on. hold on.
You go ahead, Jordan.
Jordan first.
I was just going to say, there's like no build-up. It's just like right from the get-go. And I don't like action, but when it comes down to thrillers, it's right away. So like you're not wasting like 25 minutes of your time just wondering what's going on. It's right away.
Melanie?
I was just going to say that he definitely wanted to help him. It was raining. He felt bad for him. But also, he was falling asleep at the wheel. He almost got into a car accident. And like he says, he picked him up because he thought maybe he would have someone to talk to. It was a long ride, and he was falling asleep. So I thought maybe he thought like he could talk to him the whole time, and it would keep him awake.
But Melanie, that's my point of why this movie is good, because it doesn't need to explain that. It doesn't have a paragraph of, here's why I picked you up. Well, we as an audience ingest the
later.
He does say it later.
Well, I'm just saying, like, at the moment, like, it doesn't need to tell us that.
Yeah.
Like,
you can tell. I mean, he's falling asleep.
Right. So he's got his reasons for making his decision, but and you think it's a good decision, and it's not a good decision. And so we get Rutger Hauer, who is just, like, he's unsettling. He seems like he should be okay, but he's unsettling. And Rutger Hauer, Jack Ryder?
Yes. No, John Ryder.
John Ryder. Funny because it's probably a pseudonym. Yeah. Ryder. He's a writer, right? So he could have made that up. Who knows? He tells us right away, once he starts to make it weird for Jimmy. Once he starts to make it weird
for... I can't even remember what his name is in it.
Yeah, Jimmy. Okay. It's a wonderful young name. He makes it uncomfortable for Jimmy right away in that first kind of back and forth, and saying, that car you saw back there, I cut their arms off and their legs off and their head off.
Brakes.
Yeah, okay, brakes.
Yeah, he goes, I cut off their legs, their arms, and their head, and that's what I'm going to do to you.
Right.
Okay, now, my question was,
I know what you're going to say.
How did he do all that through bone with a switchblade?
Fucking nice. Yes. Yes.
No,
and
cutting people's arms and legs off and head with one blade about maybe 4 inches long.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know what he had available to him.
Well, we didn't know anything ever.
I know. Okay. I mean, what kind of freaking saw is this guy carrying as he's hitchhiking down the street when the other people picked him up? I mean,
Jordan.
That's why you got to look at C. Thomas Howell's face. He's like freaked out. He's like, who the hell did I just pick up?
He's an innocent human.
I think he was just screwing with them, to be honest with you. Like, honestly, they're dead, but I think that he probably really didn't do that. I think he's just screwing with them and saying something that, is going to freak him out. Right. Obviously, they're dead, but there's no way in hell. I'm thinking it would be pretty hard to cut limbs off of somebody, especially with a pocket knife, but you'd have to picture him walking down the street with a huge saw. And then there's people like, oh, sure, come on and get in. Like,
somehow you would have to kill the one person, and then the other person would probably escape because it would take you a very long time to do that. That makes sense. Yeah.
But I think what Rutger Hauer is doing, and we are told his motivations at the beginning of the movie. When he says and I don't remember the exact situation, but once we understand almost in minute 6 that Rutger Hauer is not okay, he's kind of unhinged, and he's starting to threaten Jimmy, and he says, say these words, I want to die, right? But the way that he says it is just like the replicant from Blade Runner. He is saying, he wants Jimmy to say, I want to die, but he's saying it about himself. He wants to die. And what he's trying to do is set up this long machination he finally has this kid who he can manipulate to the point where I'm going to mess with this kid so much that he will kill me. Because Rutger Hauer, for whatever reason, and we don't know why, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He wants to shuffle this mortal coil. And for whatever reason, he can't do it himself.
Yeah, I wrote that down in my notes, too.
He can't do it himself, and he has to make other people... He's trying to convince other people to kill him. And everyone he's come across doesn't have the stones to kill him. He cannot manipulate them to the point where he's ruined their lives enough to kill him. And he finally has C. Thomas Howell, and basically, spoiler alert, sorry, messes with him in his head so much that he makes the decision to do something completely not in his character, to actually execute Rutger Hauer by the end, because that's what he wants. And and you can see it in his eyes when he says it the first time. I want to die. He's not telling. He's saying it out there, but he's telling us how he feels. And when we see.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
I don't want to give any spoilers, but wasn't he, when it came time to his demise, wasn't he like smiling or something?
Yeah,
Yep.
he
Yes.
wanted that.
Okay. I don't want to say exactly what in case somebody's watching who hasn't seen the movie, but in that one scene, I'm pretty sure he was like, "Do it, man, do it," or something weird like that.
You know, Jordan, our whole podcast is a spoiler.
Yeah, it's 40 years ago. It's okay. It's 40 years ago.
Shot, then.
Everyone,
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell everybody. Every one of our shows is a spoiler.
Right.
Okay.
But Jordan, but that to me, wait a minute. Hold on, Melanie, hold on. But to me, that to me is the complexity of the movie, because at the end when he's smiling and he finally dies, is he smiling because he finally is able to get off of this filthy globe that he's been on for whatever reason and he has a problem with? Or is he smiling because he finally got into somebody's head? We don't know.
He wanted to die.
I know, but you could make the argument that, like, I have ruined somebody. I have made somebody like me. I'm a murderer. Maybe that's why he wants to die. Maybe he met somebody on the highway years ago that messed with his head enough that made him to this point. Maybe he killed somebody. And now he's been waiting, figuring out a way for him to end his, because he can't do it himself.
Yeah.
And it's so good characterization, and it fails if you don't have Rutger Hauer.
Oh yeah, he's amazing. And did you see that he had 2 wedding rings on one finger?
No.
So he did, and when I was reading trivia, somebody said something like that, because you know how he left the finger in the French fries?
Yes.
Or somebody was like,
that
oh,
surprised
well, yeah. So somebody was like, well, maybe, you know, that was, you know, those wedding rings from one of those fingers or whatever. But I have a different theory. Maybe one of the wedding rings was his, and the other one he was wearing on top of the other. Maybe the other one was maybe his wife that died. Who knows? And maybe something happened really bad to his wife. And I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing that out there of why he would be so depressed and so miserable and such a nutbag that he wants
that's
to
a good theory.
And I know I
didn't
just kind
think
of thought
about
of
that.
it. So, and
Then again, I don't pay close attention to detail.
So I was thinking, well, maybe he, you know, wanted to kill himself, but he didn't have the guts to do it. So he's, you know, like you said, messing with everybody, but he does get off on messing with people. Yeah. But just to try to get somebody to kill him.
And I would say to that, he does get off on messing with people, but it's almost like he's sad when he does it. So I'd like to. There are times when he is caressing Jimmy's face, and he's almost like he's almost sad that he has with the pennies. Yeah, in the diner when they finally have that conversation, and he says. And Jimmy finally says, like, why are you doing this? Which is what we're doing while we're watching the movie. Like, why is he doing this? Like Jason doesn't need a reason, and all the other serial killer movies don't need a reason. But Jimmy's been screwed with so much, and almost to the point where he has a vendetta against a stranger. Like John has a vendetta against Jimmy and Jimmy wants to know, what's your fucking problem? Like, what did I do? I'm just driving down the road. And
I
really
want to mention the diner scene that you just talked about when he stopped for coffee there.
Yep.
That was one of my favorite scenes ever. I thought it was the cutest, funniest thing, to be honest with you, because
The cutest?
the look on each other's faces, yes, the look on each other's faces cracked me up so bad.
Yep.
Because he's just kind of has his hands in front of him, wiping his eyes, and he's just sitting there kind of smirking at him. He doesn't even know, C. Thomas Howell doesn't even know that he's there, and he opens up his eyes, he's like, shit. And then the other guy's just, the way he's smiling and the way they both looked at each other just cracked me up. And then he was like, I'm going to kill you. And, and then he starts trying to trying to shoot him. And he's like, did you check the gun? There's no, whatever.
There's
but
no
it's just
bullets.
like after he starts shooting him, he's like smiling and smirking and kind of, he feels bad for him, but he's laughing at him at the same time. That was so funny to me, that whole scene, that the look on each other's faces, everything that they said, literally everything. And then, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but when he put the pennies in the eyes, people used to do that a long time ago after somebody was dead.
Sure.
So I don't know.
Oh,
Was
I
he
didn't
trying
know
to say
that.
was he trying to say you're a dead man or something? Like what?
No,
Why would he say
he's
it?
just intimidating him at that point. He knows that he's digging away at his psyche to get him to eventually kill Rutger Hauer. Like that's his goal. Yep.
I gotta say, I never put your theory into play, like that he wants to die himself. I just was never thinking it like that. And I'm buying it. So I'm not saying that I'm disagreeing. I'm saying I never watched it with those eyes. I've always just looked at it like a cat playing with a mouse that doesn't want to eat it yet. Like I'm just gonna.
I think that's how it was the first time I ever watched it, and the second time,
Yeah,
I'm like,
so,
there's more to the story that I don't know.
This is an interesting angle, and I never thought of it. So it's
And
pretty
he has
cool.
tears in his eyes a lot of times.
He does.
He looks very sad at some points. So yeah, I think he's severely damaged.
I think he is. Like Melanie said, he gets off on. He has problems. You can't just say, "Oh, he's had a bad life." Like he obviously is unhinged somewhere in there. But I think he feels bad for what he's doing to Jimmy. I think in his heart, he's like, I need this kid to do this to me. I need him to kill me because I don't have the stones. I'm not courageous enough. And I'm not advocating this at all. I'm just saying, I'm not courageous enough to do it myself, but I'm going to put it on a patsy. And I think he feels bad for that kid. Just like he feels bad, I think, for Jennifer Jason Leigh. So there's this other female protagonist who eventually finds her end as another pawn in the whole game. And there's the scene where he magically makes it in the hotel.
I wrote that down. Those
a little
hotels
magical.
have 6 doors and they have double locks and how do you?
Whatever.
I'm
he's
like,
good
did
at
he
what
just not lock the door for him to come in? Because I was like, what is this?
There's
I'm like,
no way they wouldn't have done that though because they were both scared.
Right.
Then again, they
it
were
would
at
have
a
been
motel.
a chair. There would
Motels
have
might
been
not have the
a
best
leaning
safety.
chair up against the knob. There would have been a
he's a kid.
bureau.
He does.
No. I'm just saying, on a paranoia sake.
Yeah.
The
thing about this movie is you always think that Jimmy's safe and then he's not.
Yeah,
He's not.
When he was first jumping out of the car.
Yeah, I'm at a bus. Yeah, I'm at a truck stop. I'm safe. No, I'm not. I'm in a car. I'm safe. No, I'm not. I got arrested. I'm safe.
I'm locked in a cell.
Yeah, the
no, I'm not
arrested
safe.
one. Yeah.
So, but wait a minute. So when he lies down with Jennifer, so Jimmy's in the shower. Jennifer Jason Leigh's in the bed. They have a platonic relationship. Whatever. She understands that he has been framed for all these things. Johnny comes in. Rutger Hauer comes in, lies down in bed with Jennifer Jason Leigh, and puts a tender hand on her. Now look,
A tender hand. Okay.
well, but I'm just saying, what he could have done was immediately grabbed her, gone out the window, and strapped her to the truck, which eventually is her demise. But the fact of the matter is, he almost, the way I took that was, he feels bad that he had to bring her into this, but she's got to come into this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He could have just grabbed her and left, but he didn't. And to me, that's that sadness. I'm not advocating it or saying it's okay. I'm just saying, that's his mindset. I feel in the back of me, I'm bringing these innocent people into it, but the end game is I need somebody to kill me. I need Jimmy to do it, and this is the only way I'm going to get him to convince him to put a shotgun slug in my chest. So this is what I'm going to do. It's not okay.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Technically, though, he could have walked into any police station and raised a gun, and they would have shot him dead.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
He wants to mess with somebody like Jason, cat and mouse along the way.
Yeah,
but I'll say
movie.
the psychotic. Well, yeah, that's true. But I mean, the psychotic aspect of him is already like entrenched with Jimmy. Like, it's like, this is my guy.
Yeah,
he saw it, and that's it. Like, you know what I mean? That's why he kept pushing. But
and he doesn't care who he kills. I mean, he killed that little girl.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Now I want to back up, and I want to talk to the parents a little that are in charge. Okay, so after Jimmy breaks free from John. At the beginning, he pushes him out of the car because he sees it says door ajar, and he pushes him. He goes, "I don't want to die," and pushes him out. And he thinks he's safe, so he's driving along, and he sees another family in a station wagon. And back then in the 80s, you could sit in the far back or the way back, if they call it, and wave at the people behind you and stuff like that. So there's these kids. Yeah, he pops up from like behind a teddy bear. And he sees that, John Ryder is sitting there among these children in the back of a station wagon. Now, I'm going to ask.
I know what you're going to
pick up a hitchhiker.
Yeah.
Are you going to have this perfect stranger sit in the far back, hugging your kids, giving them little kisses on the head, right? I'm like, like you don't know this guy at all, obviously. And you don't want to even say he could be a psychopath because he absolutely is.
Moral of the story: just
like,
don't pick up hitchhikers.
Yeah.
Moral of the entire movie: don't do it.
And I want to say, he works pretty fast too, because from the moment it took him to wave to him in the back seat, and he's chasing him and following him and whatever, and he gets into C. Thomas Howell. Kind of gets almost kind of turned around, in the car and almost gets into an accident. By the time it takes him to get out of the car and just shake his head and get back in and turn the car around, which was a matter of maybe 2 minutes, he catches up, and guess what? He's had time to not only kill the family, but make it ahead and walk all the way to the gas station.
Mm-hmm. It could have just been like a miss, whatever you call it, for like movies.
There's a lot of
thinking before they wrote it, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of, and I was watching this thinking about what you guys would say, or as I should say for Maryland, y'all would say. You guys is up north, y'all is.
I do say y'all. Yeah.
Oh,
look, we're not so silly to say yins, which is what they say in Pennsylvania.
I say you guys.
I've never heard about that.
Oh yeah, yins is the thing in Pittsburgh. Yins, you gotta think that.
It's just a Pittsburgh thing.
Sorry, that's neither here nor there. So the bottom line here is that I knew that going in, there were so many opportunities. I could hear Melanie and Jay's voice. There's so many opportunities of just go away. Like, just go to a spot and stay there and call somebody. And this movie does take a little bit of liberties with the fact that there were a lot of opportunities where Jimmy could have gotten away and been someplace safe. There were a lot of opportunities where Jimmy could have called somebody. But I think Jimmy is so innocent enough and ignorant enough that he doesn't make the right choices because he's so young. If you were 40, Jimmy's not the target. Because if you're 40 or 50, you're going to make a logical choice and say, okay, shit's going off the rails. We're turning over. We're going to the police right now. I don't care what happens. But Jimmy's not worldly enough for that. That's why they made him like, God damn, I don't know how old he was. He acted and looked 19 to me because he brought up right out of beginning of the movie, my mom said never to pick up strangers. So that already informs you he's late teens, early 20s at most, not drinking
Well, it's like
yet.
side hustle money driving a car across the country.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he thought it would be cool because he wanted to go to California.
Yep.
So he was kind of driving through. I do want to say I feel like he made the biggest mistake ever at the construction site because he knows what a crazy maniac this guy is and that he's killed people. And he pulls up and now he's in front of all of these people. There's a ton of people around. And I don't care if he's got his hand on his leg and a knife in his side. It is a freaking knife. It's not a gun. So I don't even care if it was a gun. Even if it was a gun, I tell my kids all the time, if for some reason anybody ever, because I always tell them, make sure you lock the door when you get in the car. But if for some reason somebody jumps in the car, I don't even care if this person would have a gun on you. You go ahead and you get in the biggest accident on earth. Drive through a building if you have to. through a gas station. I don't care what you need to do, but don't go anywhere else with this person. But he's at a construction site. There's all of these people around. He only has a knife. So the worst that could happen is he gets stabbed super quick with the knife in the side. But by that time,
not in the,
yes.
not in
Penis.
the leg.
He had his hand between his legs, but the knife, I think, was on his
Nope.
side.
No,
It was
no,
in
it
his
was
balls.
retracted.
No.
It was retracted.
No, well,
Right.
either way,
No.
No, you
he
press
wouldn't
the
have been able
button,
to
it's
do
going
much damage.
straight.
Yeah.
But there's not much damage that could have been done by the
You're right.
time it took that guy to fly out of the car. And then he would have been with all these people, and those guys would have pinned him down on the ground, and it would have been over. But
Okay,
again,
just so
we
you know.
wouldn't have had a movie, so.
I know that.
Or it would have been over
the-
if he did not pick up the hitchhiker. That was the biggest mistake he made.
Yeah.
Yes.
The counter argument would be probably every man listening right now would say, not much damage being done. Okay, nailed it. Got it.
Are you serious? Are you sure that's where the knife was?
Yes. Because the construction
Yeah,
people
straight.
said, let him go. And they made like a gay epithet, like, okay,
Right,
honeys.
because he grabbed his crotch area with his hand.
No, the knife was there.
But there was a retracted knife. Like
Yeah.
it's. I think it was the switchblade that doesn't flip up; it goes straight.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, but I thought he had his like right hand between his crotch and the left hand was on his side with the
Yeah.
knife. No? That's
Nope.
what I thought.
No, it was
Well,
the
I
the
just wanna
knife
say-
was right at the junk. It was right on the junk. Now, having said that, in a logical situation, even if it's a spring-loaded switchblade and it's up against something, it's probably the spring that springs the switchblade isn't probably enough to actually go deep into the
denim.
vas deferens and the testicles to actually.
God.
I'm just throwing it out there, like biologically
Time for a little
speaking.
health lesson, guys.
It's
I
not
was
going to
gonna
be
say- Hold
pleasant.
on.
It's not going to be
This has
pleasant,
been-
but you know.
This has been Crotch Talk with the film.
So,
By all.
crotch crickets.
Anatomy 101.
Talking about penises.
Poor Jordan. She's
My
never
daughter
coming
just
back.
walked in and she's probably going, what the hell are they talking about?
No, you tell her we're talking about. Look, if a stranger comes in the car, crash into a building. That's
I've told her
yeah,
that.
and that's like because you'll get back from that hopefully.
And before you start, I also wanted to say, I don't understand how one guy with a little switchblade. Oh no, he had a gun at this point. I don't care. No, unless he took it from the cops. I don't remember. But how do you go in there and shoot 3 cops all at one time?
Yeah.
And you're telling me by the time he shot one person, the other one wouldn't have at least grabbed his gun and got at least one good shot in there? I mean, he got
Right.
3 perfect shots all at one time, and that's it.
But Melanie,
No. Go ahead.
okay, go ahead.
What you
Go.
saying?
No, I was going to say, what did you can get back to that real quick. But speaking of that, he had the bullets from that gun, and what was the other?
He
thing
grabbed
in
the bullets
picture?
out of the cop's gun.
No, but
They
what was
never had
what was the other thing in the Kleenex?
The Kleenex.
Yeah, there
I don't
was.
remember.
He unwrapped the Kleenex and there was
Yeah.
bullets. Wasn't there something else in that?
I thought there was too, but
Okay.
I don't know if they really.
I couldn't recognize. It looked like a rock, like
Yeah.
a little rock.
But
I was
he's
like, what the
not
hell is
Michael
that?
Myers. He's not Michael Myers that busted into that police station and killed everybody
But-
with his bare hands. Like,
But here's the thing though. While I'll agree with you that again, I heard your guys' voices when I was listening to this and thinking like,
It's like we
there's
have a reputation.
No. But I'm just saying like, here's what they're gonna say. I think, and like, there's so many opportunities to get away. 100%. Otherwise, there's no movie. 100%.
yeah.
But they didn't show us. They didn't show us Rucker Hauer. I'm not saying this right. We were not shown, sorry, Rucker Hauer taking out these 3 policemen.
But there was
You don't-
only 3 bullet sounds. 3.
But the
Boom,
fact of the
boom,
matter
boom.
is, we didn't see it, so anything could have happened. Poorer storytelling or more sensational storytelling would be, we as the audience need to see the blood. We need to see bullets going through police officers. Whereas they're leaving it up to us to imagine, oh my God, this guy's capable of anything.
That's not
Right?
what I was thinking. I
He's
was
like
thinking, no way
John
in
Wick.
hell
He
would
can
be able to do
kill. He can kill a man with a pencil if he needs to. So
The policeman with the mustache had a throat slit. So like
okay.
the
I
dog
thought I
was
saw
licking
that,
it.
but I wasn't sure.
The dog was licking the neck.
Okay, but I know
So-
from a bullet. I didn't know.
So it could
Jordan.
be because it's such a ghost town of a police
Yeah.
station.
Well, that's the
everybody's
other
in
part.
separate rooms. And the 3 bullets you heard could have been from a cop
Yeah.
or something, like shooting at him or something. I don't know. We don't know. We'll never know. And that's
Yep,
what's
it doesn't matter.
The beauty of it.
Jordan,
It
what were
doesn't
you
matter.
gonna say?
Jordan, go.
Well, I was going to say, just like a thought that popped into my head, what if, now I mean, it's probably not, but what if he was just like imagining everything, but he was the actual killer? See Thomas Howell.
Oh,
I mean, there's a lot of things that say, oh, he's not because he wasn't in the right place at the right time. But what if it was all this leading up to it and he was just imagining the whole thing? Oh, there's like this killer guy who's in my car.
Like a split personality thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have been what The Hitcher 2 should have been about.
I know. I've yet to see it, but I might watch that tonight. Also, I did watch, were you the one who asked me about heavy metal? Who was it? Was that you or was it somebody else?
No. it wasn't
Okay.
me.
I'm like, there was some movie I watched last time, and I was like, oh, I did watch it that night.
Okay, but you knew Trick or Treat, though.
Oh, yeah. I love Trick or
Yeah.
Treat.
But I also wanted to say the first thing he should have did was just, when he got out of there and saw that everybody was dead, I would have went right back into my cell and locked myself in. Like, you wait
The
for
guy
the
could have
other
came in with his gun, and then you'd have nowhere to go.
Or he would have burned the place down. We would have been screwed
Yeah.
no matter what.
True.
Either way, he
Yeah.
would have been done.
I was like, at least the cops would have came in and said, well, this guy couldn't have done it. He was locked in a jail cell.
Right, but
Are
then
you-
you're green and simple, meaning like
Yeah.
Jimmy.
No movie.
He's green
Right.
and simple.
Are
and you
you-
wouldn't think to do that.
Are you aware of a movie called Duel?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, the Steven
I
Spielberg.
don't think I've seen it.
It's Steven Spielberg. It's like his first movie, and it's basically an anonymous truck is harassing a motorist in the desert for no reason.
Oh, you know what? I think
And-
that was in the trivia that somebody
Yeah.
was saying that they
And
thought
then Jaws is basically Duel, but in the ocean with
water.
a shark.
it was
Okay.
And so this movie to me reminded me that it's in the same idea as Jaws and Duel. Rutger Hauer is a shark, and by his eyes, he looks like a shark. And he
Yeah.
has a target, and he's going for the target, and he doesn't care what gets in his way. And that to me is the truck in Duel. It's the shark in Jaws. Hitcher is not Jaws or Duel, but it's the same idea in that we have an unstoppable monster who has, for whatever, whose motivations, better motivations than Jaws or Duel, but has motivations, and we will not stop him because his end game is, I don't care if I die. What if you encounter someone whose mission is, I don't care what happens to me? Because he doesn't, because he wants
It'd
to
be
die. Yeah, he doesn't care. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, they're
It's someone. It's like those old cartoons, and I'm just thinking of like a cartoon where like the good guys are going to play the bad guys in baseball. I know this sounds bizarre, but bear with me. The bad guys don't care about the rules, but the good guys care about the rules. How are you going to win that game? The bad guys are going to win because they don't care about the rules. Rutger Hauer doesn't care about the rules. Doesn't care about the law. Doesn't care about society. Doesn't care about humanity. So what are you going to do with that person except execute that person? Which
I
is
think he
really
knew by the end
telling.
of it that he was going to die, but he wanted to do as much in his power to make him, I guess, have a fulfilling life. But I think he knew by the end of it, oh, this is the guy who's going to end up killing me. That's why I think when he smiled at the end, he's like, oh, finally, it's about time.
Or maybe he's like, hey, you a sane person, you're not that far away from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not that far away. All I got to do,
both.
yeah, all I got to do is XYZ, and you're going to be me. And guess what? Guess what? We get C. Thomas Howell to hijack a sheriff's van for no reason. C. Thomas Howell is safe, but he's gotten in his head enough that he's going to break the law, hijack a sheriff's, take his gun, stick it in his face to go find Rutger Hauer to execute him. And so thereby, and this is the tough part of the movie, Johnny wins. Johnny dies, and he gets everything he wants. He turns somebody that's innocent into him, and he gets to exit this world. And that's all Johnny wants. And that, to me, is ridiculous. How
Does that
can
kind
you
of
make
play
that?
into The Hitcher too, though? Like, what
I
is...
couldn't tell
without
you.
really spoiling it, what is
I don't know.
T. Thomas Howell's character in The Hitcher 2?
I don't remember The Hitcher
He's the
2, so it
same
must not have
person.
been pretty good.
I mean, I don't remember much. I think he's like a police officer or something, or
Oh, is he?
Okay.
Or
So he doesn't, like,
ex-police
turn
officer.
into, like, the bad guy.
No.
No. Jake Busey
Okay.
is the bad guy.
Jake Busey.
Okay.
That should say it all.
I mean, the
Because
trauma
Gary
has been
Busey's
like,
not
oh, and
crazy
then he
enough.
starts to act like this guy. I don't know.
No, he's just driving in the desert again.
I wonder if it's his kid. I don't know. Meaning Rutger Hauer's kid or something stupid. I don't know. It's been too long.
Yep.
I saw it once, so I can't comment. I can't say whether it was good or bad. I won't.
Right. I don't
If you
remember
watch
either.
it and it's bad, don't blame me.
I might watch it tonight, so I'll let
That's
you
fine,
guys
but
know.
don't blame me.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
It's on
Let us
Prime.
know. Oh, is it?
Oh, it is
Yeah.
for free?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I watched it on there instead of 1, 2,
Oh,
3
wait.
movies.
Yeah, because I don't know. Don't quote me. I don't know.
We'll see.
I'm not
We'll
sure.
see.
I
All
also thought at first when I watched this, I thought, how dumb is it that he was pulling the gun on the police right after that happened? But then I thought, okay, well, there's probably no other way he was able to get the police to listen to him. Remember when he pulled the gun on him, got him into the backseat, and then was CBing like the sheriff or whatever to try to tell him that like he didn't do it. But at first I was like, oh my God, how stupid is he? He's just making him look like the killer. But at the same time, once those other cops got killed and they got shot, he was in the back seat. He had a handgun. The bad guy pulls up onto the side and shoots the 2 police officers with a shotgun through the sides, not from behind with a little, handgun. Then the other cops pull him over. They're like, you shot, my friends, when they pulled him off the bus. The first thing I would have been like, okay, listen, I was in the back seat with a handgun. These guys were obviously shot with a shotgun, which I do not have, through the sides of their head while I was in the back seat. Like, I don't know. When you're watching a movie and you're just like, why isn't he saying all these things? You know what I mean? Like,
Because, well, I'll tell you one.
Anyway, but
No, they weren't going to, and there was nobody. He didn't say we've been held hostage by a guy who's in our back seat.
yeah.
So unless the forensics are really amazing, they probably wouldn't even know he was in the back seat. You know what I mean? Like, and how do we know you didn't kill him from the side and say you were in the back seat? You know what I mean? Like that type of thing. And he's a paranoid kid. Like, you know what I mean? At this point, I would be too. I called the cops from the diner.
Yeah.
I said, please, I know who killed him. Come on down.
Yes.
And they hold their guns at me and arrest me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'd be so mad.
So-
I would actually
Yeah.
be. Ooh.
Yeah.
I would be so mad.
I think the first thing he should have done if he wasn't going to lock himself back in that cell is call the police and go, help me, help me, help me. But, then he takes off. I mean, I guess he probably thought at that time, like Jay said, that they weren't going to believe anything that he said anyway.
No.
I think it's beautiful that no matter what he tries to do to be safe, Johnny finds a way to get at him.
Yeah.
He
It
even
is
gets himself
beautiful.
arrested. He's like, I'm just going to get arrested. Fine. Put me in a cell. I don't care.
No, it's just
And-
funny. That was the word you chose. Beautiful.
What?
This is
Beautiful?
so beautiful.
I'm just saying. It's so beautiful, man.
It's a thing of beauty that,
It is.
that he cornered him and manipulated him.
I'm just saying it's good storytelling, man. It's good
No,
storytelling.
I know.
Yeah.
You guys, you want to delve into Jennifer Jason Leigh's demise, or you want to just leave it?
I didn't
I
see
do,
a lot.
They have something on it.
Okay.
In what, trivia?
No. I just notes that and me and my mom were thinking the same thing. See, now she's tied up and she's between the trucks, and they're like, we can't do anything because if we kill him, then he's going to let his foot off the gas,
clutch.
whatever. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And then she's going to die anyway. So, okay, when he's getting into the car, the truck, sorry, and Rutger Hauer is going to be all looking at C. Thomas Howell, not paying attention to whatever else is going on. You have
Why
such
can't they
blind
undo it?
spots.
Yeah, just cut it. Just cut the rope.
Yeah.
They could have crawled in from underneath the truck from way behind, crawled up to the front where she is. There's huge blind spots with 18-wheelers, not to mention if you're going under the truck from behind. And they could have at least just cut the ropes that were attached to his truck so that if he was like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to do whatever, she wouldn't be attached to that. But again, They needed that ending for all the reasons that we were talking about. But that just made me so mad because I was like, you're telling me they're not going to do anything?
Yeah.
And then when he was like, kill me, here's the gun, it's loaded, blah, blah, blah. He should have said, okay, fine. If you want me to kill you so bad, I will kill you once you put the truck in park.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Put it in park and I will shoot you dead right now.
Sure.
But no.
That's what I would have done.
Because Rutger Hauer was in charge.
Yep.
I kept yelling at him, why don't you just shoot him? Shoot him, shoot him, shoot him. And he never did. And I was like, well, she's dead.
Yeah,
He was still scared, though. Meaning he was still that nervous kid.
That's
The only time he grew that
was after.
Was after the police station when he was finally arrested and said, all right, that's it, I'm done. He still hadn't reached that point yet.
I agree with your analysis on the loopholes, and I thought the same thing. But the other side of it is, from the movie standpoint, we as the audience were in this. We've been going along this story for so long that we still need to break Jimmy.
Right.
Jimmy's not been broken yet, and we only know that he's been broken when he spits in Johnny's face. Now we know he's broken. He's not broken, and he needed the moment, or I should say Johnny needed the moment where he ripped Jason Lee in two to break Jimmy. That was going to be the thing that broke Jimmy. Because, again, Johnny wants to be dead, but he also wants to damage somebody else, which, again, he's crazy. But
so that makes sense.
I agree. There were so many ways out of that situation that I know. You know what I mean? I know. Hey, look, in Jaws, just bring the boat back home.
Yeah.
I am with you.
We have 4 Jaws movies, so.
Yeah, I know. So, unfortunately. But
all right, let's hit TMI.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
You do the theme. I'll be right back.
It's time for TMI with Melanie.
Listen to this. I am in the bathroom right before the movie starts. And I'm in the stall, and there's no toilet paper.
Mine are at home in a display case above my bed.
TMI, my friends.
It's just
TMI?
Too much information.
Say don't go there, but that's lame.
Now, here's Melanie with your timeless movie info.
All right. Chris did the disappearing act, but Melanie.
You want to wait a second? All right, The Hitcher, the budget was, this is so sad. The budget was $7.9 million and it only grossed $5.8. I don't think I've ever seen that with anything that we've ever done. And it was but my mom was like, yeah, but it became popular later on after, that. So I hope to God that what is that thing called when you,
Cult.
Royalties?
Royalties. I hope that they signed up for that because sometimes they don't. So The Hitcher 2003, I've been waiting. It does it says revised C. Thomas Howell role with Jake Busey. There's no budget info on that one. And then 2007 remake was $10 million, but it actually grossed to 25.4.
Really?
So, yeah, it did so much better than this one, unfortunately.
Was it a theatrical release?
Maybe.
Yes.
Wow.
All right. The original script was long enough to make a 3-hour movie. Scenes that were never filmed include Ryder slaughtering an entire family, an eyeball appearing in a hamburger. This was replaced by the finger and a plate of french fries. A graphic sex scene between Galveston, the girl before Natch. I don't remember any girl before Natch.
Nor I.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your rated R movie right there. I'm glad they kind of took it out.
Me too. I'm glad. We don't need that.
Nope.
Yeah, you don't need to see that.
Nope.
Now we're back to crotch talk with the children.
So it was between Galveston and then Jim. And then a character being decapitated. This movie underwent several rewrites, which removed the gorier moments. Rutger Hauer did a lot of the stunt driving throughout the movie, which amazed the crew and even the real stunt drivers. Let's see. While performing the last sequence of the windshield stunt, Rutger Hauer knocked out one of his teeth with a shotgun that he was holding in his hands. C. Thomas Howell admitted that he was actually afraid of Rutger Hauer on the set on and off the set because of his general intensity. Executive producer Edward S. Feldman settled on Sam Elliott for the role of John Ryder.
All right.
He says Hewer states that apparently Elliot was so scary when he came to audition that Feldman was afraid to go to his car after. He didn't want to go out to his car after.
Wow.
Sam Elliott had a scheduling conflict and had to back out of the role. Otherwise, it would have been Sam Elliott.
They made a better choice. Rutger Hauer's much better.
He is perfect in it.
He needs to be damaged goods. Okay.
Yeah. The coach stops at Roy's Motel and Cafe, which is a famous landmark on the old route of 66,
Okay.
which is now Interstate 40. It can be found on Amboy, California. It has been featured in many movies and documentaries. You know, this whole thing I thought was supposed to take place in Texas, but you can tell it's California with all those mountains and everything, too.
Sure. Yeah.
And it must have been hotter than hell because Rutger Hauer is sweating all down his face throughout the entire movie. This is kind of strange and kind of cool, but future president at the time, George W. Bush, served on the board of the company that lent money to HBO to finance this movie. During the 2000 presidential election, Bush's critics used this involvement in the film to discredit his stance on family values and his criticism of persuasive violence in Hollywood movies. Can you believe that?
Okay, well, relax.
I love horror movies. Like, don't take that away from me.
They'll dig up anything. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. This is one of the few movies to which I hate this guy for this. To which Roger Ebert gave 0 stars. Not only did he think that it was gruesome, it wasn't that gruesome.
It was not.
Not at all. It says he stated that there was no motive for the killer. Why does there have to be? Come on. It's scarier when there isn't a motive.
Exactly.
Yeah. When he and Gene Siskel denounced the movie for its violence on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson in 1962. It did not in 1960, but they're talking about Johnny Carson 1960. I don't know why they're saying 1962. It must be, I don't know when that year's got to be wrong. It says Carson asked them if they were opposed to censorship. And Ebert replied, of course. The film should be made, it should be watched, and it should never be attended by anybody.
Okay.
Like, really, he hates it that much. Nash's gruesome death by being torn apart by the truck and the trailer hitch was actually Rutger Hauer's idea. The original script had Nash to be crushed by the truck against a wall, but Hewer convinced the director to go with this idea, arguing that audiences would be more disturbed by the sound of the revving engine after watching the scene.
Okay.
And he's right. You know?
That makes sense.
Oh, 100%. Yep. That scene kept me on the edge of my seat. I love it.
And he's right. Every time it revved the engine, you were like, no.
And for those of us that drive clutch, you know when they showed a picture of the gas and the clutch balancing.
Yeah.
And you know you need to get it just right. And if you let one go, you're going to roll forward. No, that's much more tense.
Yes.
I agree.
Yep. So that was his idea. And then so they were saying how gruesome it was. And yet, one of the producers said that this movie's commercial failure was because of the lack of violence.
Exactly.
And yes,
that makes sense.
And that, because it's supposed to be like a psychological thriller, kind of horror. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that Nash's death should have been shown. They said that there's other gore in movies and other killings, but this is the main one. And it's the motivation for the hero. Mm-hmm. You can't show all the other kills, and then not show the main one that's more important. It's cheating the audience.
Yep.
Rutger Hauer said critics misunderstood this movie. According to him, it's an allegory in which Ryder represents evil.
Yep. Agreed. Yep. He's a shark.
That's it.
He's mindless evil. Agreed.
Now, would you? I know in the video store we'd put it in the horror category, but I don't know if I'd full on say horror. I would say more thriller.
Psychological thriller.
100% psychological thriller. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would put it in the horror section because, it would be easier.
It's scary.
It would be the audience. That
it's horrific.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd label it as that. That's all.
Yeah.
I think because we're so used to horror being kind of like slasher nowadays, that you kind of have to just to distinguish. I think that's the word. I don't know, like thriller to psychological thriller to then horror. I think there's different categories that you can do. But I would label this movie as psychological thriller because it kind of plays with the audience's mind at the same point as it is with the main character.
Yes, I totally agree. And I have a question for Jordan, and this is going to give Chris a hard time.
Oh,
All right. So you love horror movies.
Yes.
But do you ever follow any true crime anything?
Oh, all the time. Podcasts, YouTube videos, everything.
Okay. So you would probably like the True Crime Obsessed podcast. That's the only one I listen to. They actually, and I know it sounds horrible, but they do it in a kind of funny way. Because
that's good. You need some comic relief in it, you know?
Yeah, when people are getting murdered, it's great.
But they're not. No, they're very sympathetic towards any victims, and they're really good. But they're kind of making fun of a lot of stuff that's in the documentary itself. But anyway, the reason why I'm picking on Chris is because he thinks I'm crazy for watching stuff like that. But I want to tell Chris.
Yes.
I think the reason that you did not grow up watching Forensic Files, because if you like science, there's no way in hell you would not like that, because that's what it is.
Files.
It is freaking science.
Okay.
And that's why I started watching it. And I think the reason why you didn't watch it was because you didn't have cable.
You're right.
Unlike so many other people. And it was constantly on cable, like literally all the time. And the reason why I started loving it, and my kids, is because of the science. Like, you watch these things and you're like, these people are geniuses. Do you know what I mean? Like, how they find, like, the littlest little thing, and they just put all these things together, and it's amazing. And Forensic Files is something that always has an ending, and they're always catching the bad guy. So I honestly think that you would like it if you gave it a chance. It's very, very, very scientific. I really think you would like it.
All right. I will.
All I had to say.
Thank you. Due diligence. I will give it a shot.
There's how many seasons? Like 10?
A friend to a friend. I will give it a shot.
Forensic File has 1 billion. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what,
File 2 is not. I mean, it's good, but I like the narrator's voice better. And okay.
Sorry, what were you trying to say, Chris?
For final
Just cracking up.
judgment. Are you ready to rubber stamp this bitch? Here's the final judgment.
All right, it's time for Final Judgment, where we talk about how well this movie holds up today. And I think we've kind of all tipped our hats today.
Sure.
But
does it hold up?
Tipped our hands, I should say. That's what I'm saying. I think we all think it does. But I'll start with the newbie, Chris.
Me? Oh, yeah. It holds up. I never saw it.
This movie, yeah.
So I think it holds up, and I think part of the reason it holds up is obviously the storytelling is really good. Obviously the characterization is really good. You have to get a good actor in the role of Johnny Ryder. And I think it holds up technologically because of the placement. You could theorize that you would be out in the middle of a desert and not have cell phone service. You could imagine that there wouldn't be a town for miles around. You could imagine that nobody would help you. I mean, you can do that if you have a thriller where you're out camping. Like, oh shit, I've got no service. So that's not out of control. They didn't say this guy was stalking them in New York City. They were in the middle of literally the desert, which could have. There are gaps in the service. So, I'd say it holds up. I think it works. I don't know why you remake it, and I don't care to talk about that.
Yeah.
But no, it holds up. I think it's good. It's good. It's a psychological drama, and it kind of makes you think like the killer. So, no, I like it. So, Jordan.
I mean, I watched it because C. Thomas Howell, I love him. I think 100% it holds up. I don't see why they need a remake. Then again, that was during a time where remakes were very popular. So I can kind of see why, but I do kind of wish that the movie performed better than the original. Or performed better than the remake. I've never seen the remake. Yeah. I don't care to see the remake. I think the original is amazing. If it was made nowadays, the exact same story plot, I think it would still keep people on the edge of their seat.
Sure.
And I love it. I think everybody needs to watch it. It's a really, really good movie. I mean, I'd probably rate it PG-13 other than rated R, but it's such a good movie. I think it 100% holds up. And yeah.
Cool. No, great. Jake?
Yeah, absolutely holds up. I think a lot of times the problems with like some movies that we're watching for the show, some of the problems where they wouldn't hold up is they don't stand up to today's pacing. Today's pacing almost hits you like, you know, before you know what movie it is. It's like, you know, as soon as 20th Century Fox or whatever, you know, ends, like bang, you get hit like right away because they you know, we live in the TikTok generation. You know, everybody's like got the attention span of a flea. You know,
very short attention span.
Right. So, like, but this doesn't take long. Yes, you know, you could say, you know, they could probably say, well, it's really boring when he's driving. You know, like at the beginning, but it doesn't take long. You know, before something terrible happens, and how do you not get invested? You know, he's such a good. Like you feel the vibe on like him being such a good person that you want him to be okay. So, you know what I'm saying? Like those intensity feelings, like, you know, that's what keeps this movie so fresh. It doesn't matter tech or anything like that. It's just that good. So I highly recommend it to anybody.
I agree.
Cool, Howerton.
Okay, so 100% definitely. I think it's a really fast watch. It seems like when you watch it, it goes by so fast because it's so good. You don't get bored with it. It is like, even though it's a psychological thriller, it's super action packed throughout the entire thing. Mm-hmm. And you really get invested with the really good acting into both characters. And I'm thinking the only reason why maybe the remake did so good was because of the later cult following that this one actually ended up having. So even though it didn't do good when it was actually made, I think later on, as more people watched it, probably after for VHS tape or whatever, people are became like, oh, this is such a good movie. So of course, then they wanted to do remakes, do whatever. So I think the only reason why and I haven't seen it, so I can't say, but I'm thinking why the remake did so good number-wise was probably because everybody was like, oh, I love the Hitcher, we got to go see this one.
Sure.
You know,
and it probably had a better budget for promotion.
Sure.
Yeah, it had a like the other one was 7.9. This one was a 10 million. Well, you know, the other one, the newer one.
Yeah. About the same with inflation.
Yeah, I got it.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Super. Jay's freezing. All right.
Yes, I am. Well, all right. Well, that was our coverage of the movie The Hitcher. I'd like to thank Jordan for being here once again. We love having you on.
Thank you for having me. I love this movie. Yeah. I love it so much. I might watch the second one tonight. We will see.
If you want to tell people how to find you?
Yeah, so you guys can find me. I'm trying to be more consistent on YouTube, which is also Can't Buy Me 80s. Instagram, TikTok, Can't Buy Me 80s. Really anything. And yeah, hopefully I can be here again. I know the last time before we cut out, we were talking about what movies to watch. Really anything. I've seen quite a ton of 80s movies. If you guys have any suggestions, I would definitely be down if I've not seen it yet.
All right.
Cool.
I'll come up with some.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Sounds
excellent.
Good.
Cool.
All right.
I can dig it.
Thank you so much.
Have a great week, everybody. And, well, until next time, I'd like to thank Steve Lavoie for our vocal imaging and Draco and the Malfoys for our theme music. Until next time, movies may not age like fine wine, but we drink it anyway. Bye.